Was you like me and very annoyed with some of the dungeons inside of Diablo? How maze-like and very backtracky that some of the dungeons was? I got some great news for you, because lucky enough we did just get a update from Blizzard about what is happening with the dungeons inside of Diablo 4 and how they are changing it, as well as some of the other stuff they are adding to it to hopefully make them better. But before we hop into all that, since I'm going to break it all down for you, I do want to give a giant thank you to everybody that's supporting over on patreon.com/Maconn. A link in the description below. Thank you for the support, and a giant thank you to 1K for supporting at the Lunatil. But with that, let's go ahead, let's jump into this, and let's talk about some dungeons. And like always, I'll have links in the description if you want to check this article out for yourself, because there are a lot to it that will be covered over the next few videos. So, link below for you to check it out. But with that, let's get into the details. So let's go ahead and start off with dungeons, since I start off the article that way, so let's do it as well. Since there was a lot of feedback, any from me and many other people obviously, about the dungeon design being very maid-like, as well as being very much a lot of backtracking if you wasn't heavily exploring constantly, and having to find items and whatnot, just making a lot of the dungeon feel very drawn out in many ways. Lucky enough, Blizzard have heard from us here and have decided to actually change the way that the layout have happened, as well as we do have a list of some of the dungeons that was affected. Leap from what we have seen moving forward, we will see if all this they indicate in release. I know Blizzard did say at one point the dungeon that we experienced all the way they all, since these are the beginning dungeon, and other dungeon in this region gonna be totally different. And of course, with them listing out the ones here, maybe that is fairly accurate. We will see how much it actually matter beyond the dungeon for the beginning zone. But nonetheless, this is good. Hopefully that ends up being great, but we will have to see. But nonetheless, elite for any of you who was annoyed or worried about the backtracking, that is getting rectified. And then on that thing, which is still once again tied to dungeons, when it comes to actual dungeon events, the event itself that happen is a random event, well, that have chance of happening where you will do different stuff, such as fighting monsters, helping NPC, and so on and so on. And of course, we do got to update to that, since in the beta, it originally was a 10% chance of actually appearing in the dungeon. That have been ramped up now to 60% overall. So as you go into the dungeons, especially, who knows, maybe this is one way of fixing some of the more one-in-the-mill boring dungeon. It's cool to just add more random encounters of stuff happening in it. So this is a giant jump from 10 to 60. And when it comes to the actual killing of enemies in the dungeon, some of you might have went into some of the dungeon that was just, hey, kill all enemies, and that's how you complete it. So we do have an update here with, of course, enemy now will seek out the players, so they will have a higher chance of finding you, and you're not having to go find them. So that will hopefully speed up the encounters when you are doing them objectives in dungeons. And when it comes to actually picking up materials such as the elements, that have also been updated as well. If you've been wanting any of them quests originally, well, of course, now if you are in a party, every nearby player that in the group will collect the item, so they will actually be easier to collect for everyone. As well as, of course, now it will be giving you a 10 point of resources instead of, I believe it was what, 5 or maybe it was 1. I don't remember the exact amount for the classes, but nonetheless they have been bumped up to 10, and now everybody will get them. As well as it now also we do all active cooldown by 1 second as well, so it's not currency you picking up for a side objective. And of course, when it comes to depositing the currency as well, it have also been changed. Originally it would take 3 seconds to get your hands on it. Now it's no time limit, so this is going to be pretty much instant at that point. But the animals is not just it. We got a whole bunch of other time cuts here. So of course, when it comes to a rescue, that have also been cut down from a 3 to a second and a half. As well as all rescue objects now will drop health potion upon completion, which should help keep you all alive longer. And when it comes to the dungeon where you're having to pick up item to deliver it to certain areas that have also changed as well. So we are going to be getting a boot to movement speed, and of course that will be ramping up to 25% movement speed for you as well as your allies, any if they're not carrying anything. So everybody is going to get a boost on that. So if you felt sluggish carrying around items open door, that have now been helped out. Hopefully 25% is good enough, but we will see. But nonetheless, that have been fixed. And when it comes to putting the items on the pedestals or whatever you might be putting them into, there is also now a ability that, or the ability for putting it in, will let you go ahead and get back all of your HP. It will also refill all your potion and reset all cooldown for all the players as well. So that is a fantastic touch there to help out when you are doing the dungeons. Also, the pedestal where you'll be putting the items as well have also had a time reduction as well from 2 seconds down to 0. So more changes to that. And there you have it. There is everything that is happening with the new dungeon, a rebalance and changes, and hopefully some of these changes are more to your liking, and hopefully this is some of the stuff we all were wanting inside of Diablo 4, and it's good to see that these are being looked at. But for now, that is everything that we know as of now about the dungeon being changed. And of course, I will go ahead and keep you all up to date as we get more and more information. And of course, we did get also a update for what is changing with the classes themselves. And of course, if you do want to check out that video, you know what you gotta do. You need to hit that wonderful subscribe button so you don't miss out on my next video that will go in depth into all the stuff that got changed in the class update here. But for now, that's gonna go ahead and do it for me. And once again, big thank you to everybody that's supporting over on Patreon. Thank you, my dudes. And of course, with that, I will go ahead and see you in the comments.